On a dismal Disney. So Snow White, you would think I really am starting to believe that Disney cannot pay off the critics to give the movies good scores anymore. This or Captain America Brave New World also gained a bad critic score. It seems that the critics had enough and said, you know what? This movie sucks. This movie is garbage. Okay. So this is actually the only time where I'll actually agree on the critics with something. This new Snow White movie is terrible. Okay. No one likes this movie. No one is excited for it. No one is like, oh my god, let's go see the Snow White remake. No one likes this movie. And this is going to be one of the biggest box office flops of all time. Okay? Well, we're not joking about this. Of all time. This is going to be one of the biggest box office series of all time. They're saying this movie will basically perform like the Marvels. Whereas the Marvels didn't really do too well either and had a very similar opening globally as well. And it had massive drop offs day by day and week by week. Okay? And I do think Snow White may end up only grossing around $80 to $90 billion domestically at the highest. Okay? Unless Disney somehow pulls off a miracle or manages to get this movie above the $100 million line, but there's so many other very bad movies that did very similar. There's like Dark Phoenix in 2019, The Marvels in 2023, Brave New World, which also came out this year, Quantumania. It's funny, almost all of those movies are Disney movies, besides Dark Phoenix, which was made by Fox. But again, that was made by Fox after Disney bought it out. Bought Fox out. So yes, that means every single one of these movies, every single one of these massive unaccomplishments. Actually, there's one that's not made by Disney, Joker 2. I forgot about that movie existence. But all major, huge, all huge opening movies that had, extremely poor ratings, 90% of them are made by Disney. 90% of them are made by one company, which is Disney. Okay? And Rachel Zegler hasn't had a breakout movie ever. Okay? She hasn't had a movie that raked in hundreds of millions. I think there was that Hunger Games movie that released, but that movie was a financial disappointment compared to the other Hunger Games movies. Okay? So Rachel Zegler has had no real successful movie. They're saying that West Side Story was a defining movie, but no one went to go see that movie. That movie was a massive flop as well. Okay? A massive failure. Okay? And I just don't get why Disney doesn't learn the lesson. They just can't seem to learn the lesson from these huge failures. You think they would learn after some point. After some point, they would learn. Okay, last year was actually pretty good for Disney. Not gonna lie, with Inside Out 2 and Deadpool overrated, probably the most overrated movie of all time. Well, guess what? At least they made money off those movies. Also, forget about Moana 2, but the movie still made $1 billion too. Yeah, I think we all forget about Moana 2 existed, but even Mufasa the Lion King, a movie that everybody thought was a surefire flop, still managed to make $700 million and barely break even at the box office. But, you know, I just don't know what Disney is thinking with some of these movies. And yes, I do think Disney will probably turn the tide around. I think these are just the two movies I think Disney has no confidence in. So that's threw them on to, March and February, you know, and say, hey, let's throw these movies out. Let's forget they existed, basically. And then they're gonna have real stats coming out, Zootopia 2. You have Fantastic Four, which I'm not excited for, but apparently everybody else is. So it'll probably make a lot of money. That movie will. And also Avatar 2, not Avatar, Avatar 3. And I just don't get why Disney just doesn't make movies people want to see. The reason why Disney was so successful as a brand in the past is because Disney's movies were usually good. Okay. Especially, during the 90s, the Renaissance era Disney movies like The Lion King and stuff. Even people who did not grow up in the 90s watched those movies when they were child because those movies were classics. Anybody can watch them. Okay. Zen Alpha is now growing up with Coco Melon and Skibidi Toilet. We grew up with actual real movies. Okay. As well. But yeah. This Snow White remake is just an absolute embarrassment for Disney. Okay. Honestly, It's not gonna stop them from making remakes because they're still making the real ones. So remakes will probably make a lot of money as well. And then people were like, "Oh my God, Disney's so back," okay, or something like that. But yeah, this movie is gonna be a huge, huge, massive failure. I just do not see this movie at all making money. Okay, there is no possible way this movie makes money. Like Brave New World didn't make any money, and that's what this video here. Goodbye. Also, they're saying this movie is for kids. Well, what kind of kid would want to watch this movie? I'm just wondering. Maybe especially considering the fact that Rebels and Kamala Harris do not have kids. That's the main demographic. I think the main demographic they're appealing for this movie is mostly, liberal educated women. So those are the only people. It's always just so ironic that the so-called most educated women in our society will support crap like DEI and this crappy Snow White remake, when almost no one wants to see this movie besides them. Yeah, the scene of a college is supposed to make people smarter, but really turns people into Democrats. Yeah, goodbye.